Welcome to Nintendo Voice Chat for the week of July 30th. I am your host, Jose Otero, and this week I have some IGN editors to talk all about Pikmin 3. So I'll start introductions. To my left is Brendan Graeber. I knew I was going to say that.
Actually, Hans Gruber from Die Hard. It's okay.
That's fine.
We talked about it right before the show, too. I'm sure I was saying it right. And next to him, Brian Altano. Yep. And making his triumphant return to Nintendo Video Chat. I said voice chat to start, too. This is actually Nintendo Video Chat.
That's okay.
King Koopa himself.
Papa Koopa.
Whatever you call it. Richard George.
Get it right.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure.
Good to be here.
So we put out a call to folks on the Nintendo channel this week to send us their Pikmin questions, and we would answer them. So you guys are going to be our panel answering these questions.
Pikmin's out this Sunday. So
that's right.
If
August
you
4th.
are a Wii U owner and you are not buying this game, A, I'm not sure what you are playing, but B, you're a moron. Please buy this game for any number of reasons. One is it's quite good, and I think that we had our review go up over in the UK and they give it an 8.8, really good score. Also, if you're harassing me about whether I would have given the game a 9 versus an 8.8, I really hate you.
Find something else to do.
I just really, come on. Like, it's a really good score, and it's a really good game, and that's all you need to know. So, and it comes out Sunday. And if you like Wii U games and you want more Wii U games, you should probably buy a Wii U game.
There you go.
There we go.
All right, so our first question. Get ready
There's
for
my
these
rant.
user handles, by the way, because some of them are pretty amazing. UNSC Dropout 09 asks, for someone new to the Pikmin franchise and as an avid Nintendo fan, can you try to describe what Pikmin really is? I've seen videos and gameplay, but I just don't quite have it yet. Who wants to take that?
Okay,
Total war with plant creatures.
It's so when you see it, your immediate instinct is it's some sort of real-time strategy game, but it actually is nothing like a real-time strategy game. It's very much an action game. You really, think of the Pikmin less as units and more as just, tools that you're using as your little spaceman guy, or there are three of them that you work between. It's not like a Command and Conquer game. It's not, StarCraft or something like that. You're not building little cities and fortresses and stuff like that. You're really just a dude wandering around, pillaging a unsuspecting planet, killing all of its native life, and stealing all of its resources.
There we go. There's the darkness.
You were waiting for that, weren't you? I thought I was like, get evil.
Let's get down to it here. This is a murder game.
I mean, the thing I love about Pikmin is that there's just really nothing quite like it. I mean, I love the idea that I just finished Last of Us, and you're just beating people with bricks and stabbing them and shooting them, and horrible things are happening. And then, a couple months before that, I was playing BioShock Infinite, where you're braining people with this claw hand that you have. And,
right.
And this is like wander around a pleasant little garden, and, I mean, I always sort of joke and sort of think about it in these really, like, dark terms just because it amuses me and I'm a horrible person. But, like... I just think it's so cool. It's so different. There isn't a game like it. A comparison to Command & Conquer or StarCraft or something like that doesn't really work. I mean, obviously, if you played the previous two games, you know exactly what you're getting into. But look at this game. I mean, look, just watch it playing here on the screen. There's nothing quite like this game, and I think it's great. The strategy that you use between the different types of Pikmin, switching between the different types of Pikmin, the fact that there's a much more open-ended nature to the game this time, where you're really only governed by, you'll see up in the upper right-hand corner near day 8, there's a little juice container times 8 there. You're only governed by your resources, and other than that, you can kind of take as much time as you want. Like if the funny thing that happens to me in the office is people are like, oh, what day are you on? And I keep reminding people, like, it doesn't matter. Because my day 5 is different than your day 5.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool.
Okay, Altano, weigh in on that one. What if you had to explain Pikmin, anything to add to Rich's
Yeah, so,
Essay.
it's
like dissertation.
soliloquy?
I've been, like, dying to talk about Pikmin. I don't know what you're talking about.
A bunch of strange, quirky, human-like beings crash land on a planet, and they need resources, and they enlist the help of these local alien ant things that come in different varieties of flavors and textures,
Okay.
all killable and enjoyable, and they all do different things on their own. And you enlist them to help you carry things because you're too weak-willed to do it yourself.
You're just a lazy
just
bastard.
lazy.
Is really what this comes
So
down to.
in your process of selfishness of gathering enough juice to go up back into space and drink every night like a glutton, you don't care who dies. You disturb natural habitats left and right. You throw your friends around, and then your day ends, and you try to get them all back to the ship if you can, so you can rescue them.
Okay.
If not, a bunch of them killed, and they're killed by local
and they make
creatures.
you feel terrible about it because
Yep.
they make you watch a cutscene as your ship takes off.
Have you ever
and
seen one Pikmin get left behind?
It's pretty sad.
Yeah,
It's just
it's
like he
pretty
falls into
gruesome.
like platoon style, just like why? As if the ship just leaves him to die.
and they show them getting like murdered by
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
local.
You get
the
to
local
watch as they get eaten.
It's funny because my day-to-day reaction. So when I confront an enemy in the game and I have 100 Pikmin, I keep thinking of like Saruman from Lord of the Rings, where I just like raise my arms like to war, and I just a horde because there's actually you can lock onto a creature and then shake the nunchuck and they just mob the thing. But that said, at night, if I lose some Pikmin, and that has happened to me several times, I even wrote about sort of like the sort of humiliation of that. I feel bad. I actually feel bad.
Yeah.
And this is despite the fact that I'm some crazy old white wizard trying to like destroy Middle Earth. Like I still
cosplaying at home as he
I still feel exactly. I'm in like a robe at home, like with the staff.
Robe and
and, like,
slippers. Come
Get
on.
them!
can
Like
see it.
Urukai. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
So, second question. Second question
We're
comes
never
from
getting through all these
Stever,
questions.
1986. Does Pikmin 3 have the same idea as Pikmin Adventure in Nintendoland as far as how the gamepad works? He had not played it since the GameCube, so he wasn't too familiar. So, in other words, this is just a general. How does this compare to Pikmin Adventure, which was on Nintendoland?
Oh gosh, I don't.
It's very different because in
Yeah.
Nintendoland's
Yeah.
Pikmin Adventure, your friends basically played as the Pikmin, and you can boss them around and throw them on enemies to fight. But
Yeah.
they were pretty much able to do whatever they wanted on their own. Whereas in Pikmin, you're actually kind of herding and shepherding the little Pikmin
also-
creatures.
The other thing about it is that the sort of basic objective of adventure, and I honestly don't quite remember the controls, but there's a much more proactive competitive nature to adventure, and you're
Yep.
trying to level up, and you're constantly getting the little juice gel, whatever, which gives you extra levels and makes you more powerful and things like that. This is a little different. This is a little more leisurely. It's a little more, play how you feel like playing. Different experiences. I remember early on when I played Adventure, I thought it was better than Pikmin 3. But that was because kind of typical Nintendo, they'll only give you a small slice of a game the first time you ever see it.
Yeah.
So my first time playing Pikmin 3 was very small, very limited. And then, I played Adventure. I'm like, oh, wow, this is great. But I'm also playing the full idea of Pikmin Adventure. So they are significantly different. There is a much fuller experience that's going on in Pikmin 3. And when you get your hands on the full game, you'll see all the different range of kind of capabilities and sort of experiences that are in here. I mean, and it's not just story mode, which is all we're really watching now. You may have seen videos on the site earlier this week or last week about Bingo Battle, which
That's
is
right.
very, very aggressive. And maybe if you were to make a comparison to Pikmin Adventure, that might maybe
And co-op
be
mode's fun too, but it's
Yeah.
still not very much like Pikmin Adventure, where you're controlling your own little
Yeah.
sort of forces rather than individually controlling
Yep.
like Pikmin and
Yep, and
yourself.
the co-op within Pikmin 3 is in the mission mode. So I don't know. I mean, there's sort of like a superficial level of familiarity or similarity between the two, but I wouldn't
Yep.
say that there's much beyond that.
Okay.
We just killed off a whole bunch of Pikmin, by the way.
There you go. Feel bad,
And you see
Brennan.
their little soul kind
Yeah,
of go to
but-
Pikmin heaven. Yeah. You
right.
do feel terrible in any way that they die.
They die for the greater
but the
good,
funny
though, it's
thing
fine.
is when I'm battling, when I'm having them attack something, I actually don't feel that bad. But I also march around with armies of the red ones. I mostly use the red ones. And the red ones are aggressive little bastards.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually love using them for that reason because they're just my warriors, and the other guys I'll just bring in when I need to. I actually try not to let the rock ones fight too much.
I usually feel bad if I make a mistake, and then like a ton of them die at once. You have the collective like sigh of death come up.
Yeah.
There he's got the gel where he levels
It's like a
up.
crowd all at once.
Yeah.
And I wrote about this before a few weeks ago, but my devastating story was I was doing really well in fighting the boss, and then I realized I was running out of daylight, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to gather them all up, and this is one of the cool things about the game is you can retreat against a boss and then come back the next day, and the boss will still be that damage level, and you can pick up where you left off. So I gather all my Pikmin, and I'm kind of getting away from the boss. Boss charges me, scatters all of my Pikmin, like all of them, and then the day ended. And I lost all of them.
Oh, Jesus.
And fortunately, there is a way to get around that. They sort of anticipated
time.
that. You can jump back a day. You lose all your progress, so it's not like you can go from day 8 to day 7 and then back to day 8 again. You will lose all your progress, but it is perfect in a scenario like that where you just feel like you got totally destroyed. So.
All right, our next question comes from user handle The Naked Duck, and he's echoing a question that came earlier in the article where we asked for these. So my question, like another user, Gamer4F4 said, I hope that's right, is Pikmin 3 worth buying for a Wii U? First of all, we knew we were going to face this question eventually, so I want you guys to be open and honest. It feels weird, too, to kind of justify any console purchase on one game. Like, you should be purchasing it based on the future of that console.
Well, I mean, that's exactly right. I think that a lot of us, and I don't begrudge people for thinking this way. However, I think it is a very antique way of thinking. I don't feel like consoles anymore, given their cost, given their complexity, given any number of reasons, should ever be justified based on one game alone. The last time I ever feel like that ever happened was Mario 64.
Yeah.
So
that is just like, why would you do that? Like,
to
I
be
think
the
that's
counterpoint, maybe. Oh, no, not to be the counterpoint, but more to maybe echo maybe what this question was actually going for is Pikmin 3 a good starting point? If you were planning to buy a Wii U.
Yes, but so if you go, is a Wii U worth buying? And you somehow predicate it on Pikmin 3, that, in my mind, I'm sitting there going, okay, so you only ever going to buy Pikmin 3.
Yeah.
So in that case, no. That's like a $400 game, and no game is worth $400. However, in my head, I'm like, oh, there's Donkey Kong, there's Zelda, there's Mario World, there's X, there's all these Wonderful 101, there's all these amazing games, of course, Smash Brothers, coming, and I know that. And in that sense, I could see why you might buy this and a system with it. It's not for it; it's with it, because then all this other stuff is coming. I think that people sitting there expecting Pikmin, and we'll get to this question. I know it's there, but we can get more in depth. People expecting Pikmin to prove the gamepad or make Wii U instantly purchasable. I don't know that that's. I don't look at it that way really, and I don't know that that's really necessarily the right way to look at it. My big question and my worry, and if I'm sitting here going, "Oh, is this worth buying a system for?" is what is after Smash Brothers? That's my big question, right?
And
Spring 2014 and later, what does that look like? Does it turn out to be like the 3DS, where literally the 3DS is the best platform I own right now?
Literally, if that comes up a lot here. Sorry,
literally. But I mean, I just don't want to I don't want any ambiguity there. 3DS is absolutely what I play the most of. If that is in store for Wii U, I would be telling, and we don't know, but I would be sitting there going, yes, buy a system right now because amazing things are coming. So
yeah, to me, it sort of feels like this is, if you love Nintendo games, but you haven't been reminded in a while how great they can be, or haven't seen one this beautiful in HD, Pikmin's a fantastic game to jump in on. And I think if I went to a store, I got a Wii U, and I came home with Pikmin 3, I would have a couple of weeks' worth of really good times playing this game. And it would set me up for everything else coming this fall. And I'd go back and I'd check out Mario U and Luigi U and Zombie U.
Maybe Zombie U, yeah.
And, there's a bunch of games out there. The Virtual Console, there's
Earthbound.
a lot. Earthbound.
Yes,
NVC
Earthbound.
And if you guys haven't watched it, watch the Earthbound comment, it was a video, right?
Last week's podcast?
Yeah.
No, it was a voice
just
only.
audio.
Yeah.
Go back, listen to it, especially if you guys don't know much about Earthbound or don't really get it or understand what that thing is about. Go back, listen to it. It's really cool.
It's a game, Rich.
Yeah, whatever. I
Rich
mean,
endlessly trolling Earthbound forever. That's okay.
I mean, it's exactly right, though. It's just, when the 3DS came out, and it's funny how we all, me included, were very negative on 3DS when it first came out because, truthfully, it was not a great experience.
Yeah,
and
we're in the same boat again.
Over time, I mean,
funny how that happens.
Seriously,
I think the one interesting thing is that 3DS's first, there were two games that came out right after 3DS came out that started making it worthwhile, but they were both N64 ports. It was Ocarina of Time, Star Fox. So that was this sort of weird scenario where you're starting to get games, but they're also kind of games you'd played before.
Yep.
And I remember sort of sitting there going, well, I don't know.
When you launched with Steel Diver, you launched with Nintendogs, you launched with Pilot Wings.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I would say Wii U had a better launch in that regard. New Super Mario Bros. U is pretty damn cool, and Nintendoland is actually incredibly underrated, I think. It's great. But then we also had a
drought.
what
As typical
9
of
month drought.
first-year platforms, like of
It
any
is.
platform, the drought happens, right? In
It
the
is.
first year, you go from like March to, or maybe June. Well, June through August drought is typical.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
it's
we're
usually earlier for
sort
the
of
first
just
year of a platform.
obsessing. I mean, not obsessing, but hammering on this point that's been like brought up so many times. I feel like there are probably ways Nintendo could have avoided that. I think that in my head, there are simple, reasonable ways they could have avoided that, and not saying like, "Oh, bring Pikmin out earlier." It's just get me my Virtual Console earlier. Give me GameCube Virtual Console. Give me HD ports. Like I'm sure that I know that they debated a lot what they were going to do, like Wind Waker or Skyward Sword or Twilight HD port. Just give me all of them. I will buy all of them for $40 each. Like, please. Like, Mario Galaxy, yes, please.
So here's our countdown. So since our day is ending and we have to be very careful what we show you,
we
are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we have more of your questions. Please stay with us.
Did I forget anybody? I don't think I did.
Don't lose your Pikmin.
Just toss one out.
Yeah, you also get to see.
What are you doing?
He wants to show it happen.
No, that's mean.
No, I can't do
that's
that.
mean. You can't be like
we
that.
haven't left yet, so if you're still
I'm
here,
not that
You leave a
cool
little
dictator.
lunch
All right.
for these guys on the planet.
We'll see you guys in a minute.
Yep.
All right.
And we're back. And Brian Altano had an interesting thought during this transition.
So I really feel like the Wii U gets a lot of hate from a lot of people because it's the first console launch that most people have ever seen.
wait. Put that in context.
Really. So in context, we haven't seen a home console launch in ages before the Wii U. Right? We had the
I see what
360 and the
you mean.
PS3, which was a decade ago.
Yeah.
And I think that
Almost a decade.
almost a decade ago. I think it's sort of indicative of what happens in the first year of a new console, and a lot of people forget that.
Yep.
And it's easy to forget because it hasn't happened in a while. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that when the PS4 and the Xbox One come out, it's going to be a similar situation where there's 1, 2, maybe 4, 5 games worth playing in the first 6 months to a year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot of sitting and waiting while people catch up and they go, all right, this is how this thing's going to work.
also-
This is the people that are playing it. This is the audience we're going to go for. And then 2 years later, you look down at the system and you're like, wow, I can't believe there was ever a drought on this
Yep,
thing. There's so
yep,
much to
yep.
do now.
I mean, the thing I always like to bring up, and I mean, like, it's easy to look at 360 and PS3 and go, wow, these are amazing experiences. What the hell is going on with Wii U? When 360 came out, it didn't even support 1080p resolution.
Yeah.
There was no store.
Live wasn't what it is today.
It's
No.
totally different. And obviously the games are just so much more mature. And I mean, one of the other things to think about is that, when PS4 and Xbox One come out, a lot of the best reasons to have those platforms are the same reasons to keep using your 360 and PS3.
Sure. Yeah.
Like I'm super stoked for Watch Dogs, but do I, and obviously I'm an obsessive gamer, so I probably will buy a PS4 and Xbox One immediately. However,
Yeah.
Watch Dogs is the game I'm super excited about this year, and it's also on 360 and PS3.
Yep.
I mean, you remember the
So-
first week the Wii U was out, all everyone did was complain about the firmware update.
Oh,
and
man.
then weeks later, they
And
complained about
the time between menus and all
and
of
the
that
virtual
stuff.
console not having anything there. And little by little,
There
all
wasn't a
those things-
virtual
there
console.
wasn't a- yeah,
Yeah,
And little by
exactly.
little, and when they did launch it, it had like Ice Climber and some
Yeah,
other
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
stuff that
They'll,
nobody cared
they'll
about.
get
To,
there. And I mean, the thing that's fascinating to me is I can still point to different elements there that I really want them to address, and not in a fundamental game perspective, just like
Sure.
fix this, fix that. I want accounts, that work right. and everything like that.
So
I
I
love
think
this
that
boss
some of the
battle.
hate sort of lobby towards Nintendo, just to toss this out there as well, was, in a lot of ways they overpromised. I
Yeah.
mean, it was about this big launch window.
That's every
and all of these
console
games.
launch. That's the thing.
It is, and
Yeah.
it's been a while. So I
Yeah.
see Altano's point completely. It's been a while since we've kind of had to go through this. And get ready, because next year, if we're not sitting here in some form bitching about where PS4 is right now or where the Xbox One is at
That'd
that
be
point,
a remarkable thing.
that will be a very remarkable thing. Now, maybe their download initiatives and their other options will be a little better put together, but it still remains to be seen how this is going to go, because this is
And
rather
we'll-
typical.
And we'll see what happens. I mean, from all that we can tell, it looks like Sony and Microsoft have some really strong third-party support because the whole industry is sort of trend.
Yeah, and that's the other problem, but we should probably move on.
Well, but I'll just say, like the bulk of the industry seems to be trending towards what Microsoft and Sony are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
We look over at 3DS. Same idea. Bulk of the industry trended over towards iOS, and I still play my 3DS the most out of anything. I Love that thing to death, and I cannot find enough time to play all the games I want to play on that
I have
thing.
no time towards Shinigami Tensei 4.
I haven't
even
even touched that because I'm too busy with Animal Crossing and my 5 million Street Pass games, and I'm messing with Mario and Luigi, I'm just sitting here going, this is almost all through Nintendo itself.
Yeah.
So if Nintendo is able to marshal that kind of support with the help of some key partners like Platinum and things like that.
But we've been in that boat before, too, like Nintendo sort of steering the ship. But anyway, let's get back to Pikmin. Folks have been listening to us drone on for a little bit.
Well, it's all sort of related. In some way,
Sure, definitely. So, Brendan, this question's for you to kick it off and start. Nice job. Which control scheme, Brendan, do you think is the best option for this game? I'm going to let him kick it off and then we'll go around.
I am using right now, which is the Wii Remote and the Nunchuck, which you don't need Wii Motion Plus for, and using the gamepad as a complement map, which you pretty much use in all the different formats.
Yep.
Just because it's almost like, while it's not like, an RTS in some aspects, it does feel like this is a substitute for having a mouse. Yes. Because trying to play an RTS on a console gamepad is just terrible.
Well, I'll put you one further. This isn't an RTS, and because of that, because you need that highly reactive, highly sort of action-oriented play, you need that quick responsiveness. So what you see right now is like Brendan's running and aiming and and sort of managing all these different actions. You can't actually really do that on the gamepad. Maybe
you
if
have
you
to
really
stop to aim pretty much.
Exactly, because they did this weird thing with the twin sticks where you only are rotating the camera, but to control the sort of distance of your pitch of your throw, you have to stop moving because the move button. Once you stop moving, then you control the distance of your throw.
Yeah.
That single choice, and from what I can tell, and Brendan, you've played through way more than I have, I don't believe there's any option to adjust that.
No.
Nope.
So that oversight, despite the fact that they have all these different control schemes, that oversight on the controller-based control schemes kills those for me.
Yeah,
I cannot
I
do
am
it.
glad that they do have different options. It is nice to see them exploring the possibilities, but that said, this is the way to go.
This game better not have been delayed to explore those possibilities.
Yeah.
I mean,
so actually, I
was
talking about this with Jose this morning about how
so cool.
we were kind of like so burnt on motion controls for such a long time. I feel like they got so oversaturated. They were put into every game. It got to be ridiculous, and they were fundamentally broken for a while. And it's been a while since I've played a game with a Wii controller, the Wiimote and Nunchuck setup that I've used for years for many games. And this game kind of reminds you of why motion controls aren't terrible. If you pare them down to just, you have the pointer, which does everything you need to do better than most analog sticks can do. And you have the nunchuck, which does quick little flick motions and stuff like that, which actually is used very well in Pikmin. They work really well. And I think we got off a track for that for a while, and things got a little too much with Kinect and standing on a Wii Fit pad to move things around. It's just too much.
I think with every control scheme, there is a reasonable application for it, and there's an unreasonable application for it. I mean, it's like saying that, okay, so you have a mouse and keyboard, so you need to use the mouse for a fighting game.
Yeah.
What the heck am I supposed to do with that? And it's kind of the same idea here, where it's like, this motion control, which is mostly just about aiming, you're mostly just pointing at the screen. That's about it. And you have a little bit of shake to charge, and a few things like that. But I mean, it's very restrained, it's very sensible, and it works perfectly for this style of game. Whereas, on Wii, a lot of times we were just like, shake your remote to attack, and you're just like, can't I just press a button? Like, why can't I just press a button? There's some things that button presses work perfectly for, and there's some things that an aiming mechanic works perfectly for, and this is one of them.
Well, just to kind of toss this out there, because earlier you said this isn't really an RTS. I would actually, though, remind people there is a rock, paper, scissors element to this game.
Sure.
And enemies do have natural weaknesses that you have to discover. And maybe, of course, it's not StarCraft in any way, shape, or form. And it is an RTS-light style of game, but it's still really deep in terms of the different sort of attacks you can put together, different combinations. We did a video, Brendan and I, about how the gamepad works with sort of multitasking and helping you keep track of 3 different captains in 3 different locations and giving them orders to go places and them being smart enough to pretty much make it on their own. They won't fight anything on the way, But there's a lot of depth here to this
really
game, and
cool.
it's really cool. Yeah,
I mean, there's
completely.
5 different types of Pikmin to negotiate and leverage.
Yeah,
And,
not
I mean,
including the ones from the co-op mode, which they toss back
Right.
in the purple and white Pikmin as well.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
Putting
cool.
that in there.
I didn't even know that.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
if you mess around with mission mode, it's awesome.
like every type of Nintendo game, particularly Nintendo's action games, there is a richness and a depth of inherent strategy. I mean, I would argue that even like Zelda games have a lot of sort of strategic elements in terms of combat. And yeah, okay, you know that the red spot is the spot you go to, but that still means you have to be strategic in how you go and hit that red spot.
And so, exactly. Sometimes even exposing it is the difficult part.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
Rich was talking about the first boss in this game that he fought on the 5th day, and I went in. He's got this really hard candy shell on the outside of him, these huge claws, and I went in
centipede thing.
Yeah. He's fast and he's moving around this cavern. And I went in
Yeah.
with 70 red Pikmin and 30 rock Pikmin, and I'm like, the red guys will screw him up, and I threw all the red guys at him, and he just reached his claws out and shoved 70 red Pikmin in his mouth. And I was just like, ah, thanks. And I was like, I need to get out of here. And I ran out with the rock Pikmin, and like if they could talk, they would look up to me and be like, "What the fuck just happened in there? That's crazy." So I had
Their
to,
eyes bulged out.
yeah, they're like,
"What?"
"Dude, you just murdered 70 of us." I'm like, "Oh god, that was some bad strategy on my part."
Yeah.
So I went back in with the rock guys, left all the red guys in his mouth and stomach to get eaten and digested. The rock guys screwed him up, and I smashed his face open, and I won, and it was great. But it took some trial and error to get there. You can't just go in with an army, be like, "I got 100 things. I'm going to throw it at this problem and hope it'll get solved."
Yeah, you
'Cause
gotta
you will
find
die.
weaknesses.
Well, and the other thing
like this
that-
weakness here, which we're watching. Brendan
once you
play
got the
is
lights
light.
on,
yeah.
it's game over for this guy.
It's on.
Yeah.
The thing that, to continue on sort of what Brian was talking about, what's cool about that guy is this centipede dude with these pinchers in front of him. You can actually throw the rock Pikmin at the pinchers, destroy the pinchers, and then he can't grab them anymore, and you actually can call them back to you.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of cool. There's a cool depth to it, and I really like that about the game. There's just there's a complexity that I don't really feel like are in. I mean, I'm not trying to knock other RTS games, but other RTS games focus on different types of things like resource management and bases and that sort of thing. Pikmin's more about the active combat of its game. So
Yeah, and that question, by the way, last question I read out was from Bladefinger. Okay, so we got to start a lightning round because we do have places to go and things to do. So we're going to try and go really fast because we're going to be 10 minutes late to something. Okay, really quickly. From Blackout CA, was the long wait for... Now, this is a weird question, but I want you guys to look at it anyway. Was the long wait for Pikmin 3 in terms of delays justified? Does the final product show they put a lot of effort into what seems to be a great game?
Yeah.
We'll let...
Yes.
Go ahead. Why?
Yeah, well, because I mean, first of all, it's kind of a weird question because we weren't there when they were making this game, so I don't know what this game looked like 6 months ago. I assumed they sat
Probably
back.
a Wii game. I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
No, that's actually not wrong. It was a Wii game,
Yeah.
and then they just realized that, like, oh, you know what? This. I mean, 'cause I think Miyamoto's gone on record as saying, like, they're thinking about it and trying to figure it out, and they just ultimately realized that to show everything they wanted to show and to be able to do this the way they wanted to do it, there's like, you know what? Actually, this totally makes sense on Wii.
Yeah.
I mean, Wii U.
I mean,
Yeah,
he
go ahead,
also
Brian,
has
sorry.
he also has that famous quote where he was like, a bad game is bad forever. And I'm butchering it here, but delaying
That
something
works.
to make it better is a good thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo doesn't hang back on stuff to sit on it and make it worse,
Yep,
or
that's
for
right.
no reason other than be like, let's mess with the fans. Like obviously they spent months to make this thing more beautiful and more fun, and it's really fun and beautiful. So.
And you will see some of the best fruit textures you have ever seen
God,
in
yes,
any
I
other
know.
game.
I was
Talk
sat
about
there
it,
and just
yeah.
rotated them.
Let's
like,
look at this fruit up close.
Yeah. Brian
The camera
spent...
feature.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
spent like a half an hour looking at one of the
Focus
grapes
on that.
the other
Yeah,
day.
yeah, and
And then I
just-
brought grapes in for lunch yesterday, among other things. I didn't just eat grapes.
That's all he eats now is
And I was
fruit.
just sitting there looking at them on my desk, and I'm like, oh, these things look so cool. The game made them look so awesome.
I will say my one sort of visual sort of issue with the game is the ground textures. They're a
Yeah,
little
some of
rough
them look
looking.
bad.
It's very flat.
We're
but-
seeing some of it right now a little bit
Yeah.
in the right or left of your screen, depending.
By and large, from a traditional perspective, which is sort of what you're seeing now from a traditional camera angle, I think the game looks quite good. I mean, obviously, like in a couple years, we're going to see Wii U games that look just vastly better than this. But I think it's come a long way since I first saw it at E3, where I thought it was okay looking, but still needed some work.
Sure.
So, it's fine. Oops. Oh, Brennan. Oh, fail.
I could just knock it over. That's okay.
But yeah, I mean, I overall, I'm impressed. I think there are a lot of stages in Bigo Battle. There are a fair number of missions. I would say some visual issues aside and some wishes for more control options within the different control schemes. I would say my one big problem is that it's not online, and I don't really buy the excuse that it's hard to track your Pikmin, Because
was that the excuse officially?
Generally, it's like it's hard to track all your little Pikmin. And it's like, okay, but
they don't have much thinking to do.
In 1995, I was playing StarCraft games that were able to track the location of all my Zerglings. So
those weren't Pikmin.
True. Pikmin are their own unique beast. I feel like it probably could have been done. I get the reservation about it, but Rich, I feel like it could have been done.
Show me the next time a Zergling can carry a mango across a forest.
True. Yeah, they were only really good about being sacrificial lambs. So yeah, I mean, like that is my big problem with the game, right?
Okay.
If you have friends around, I mean, and this is sort of typical of most Nintendo experiences. If you have friends around that are definitely willing to play, say, Bingo Battle in particular, with you, like locally. I would buy this without hesitation. I think it's absolutely worth the wait. Bingo Battle is genius. It's very, very.
It's a lot of fun.
Really fun.
Mm-hmm. So. Okay, so next question comes from Arthur of Hyrule, and this question was asked by a couple of folks. So my bad if I missed it. He says this may not be the perfect question to ask, but I think it would bring up an interesting conversation. Much like New Super Mario Bros. U, the expansion New Super Luigi U, do you guys think Nintendo will create a large-scale expansion with new game modes or a new story mode for Pikmin 3? And if so, what do you think it could be? Thanks.
My hope and my suspicion is that if there is DLC, to be had for Pikmin, that it's going to be in the form of missions and bingo battle type things. Mm-hmm. I don't really see them doing like a big old add-on to the story. While I like Luigi U and I think it's really, really, really clever, I also think it's actually probably not the best way to handle your DLC. Saying, hey, here's some DLC for $20. I think it's. And
then we're going to rush you through the whole thing. No,
yeah,
I still enjoy that though.
I loved Luigi U.
Yeah, I did
too.
I enjoy it.
It's awesome. I don't. Maybe that's in my head at least. That's not the best way to go get a bunch of people to buy your DLC. So I mean, I think I'd be totally down just to see crazy missions and difficult missions.
I mean, you also have to consider that Luigi U was DLC for the best-selling Wii U game, so I don't think it would be far-fetched to say that this game would have to sell a little bit for them to even justify doing it.
And Miyamoto says it's possible. Yeah, I mean, that quote is out there, right? We have a news story on IGN that went up this week or end of last week.
I think there's plenty of room to either do missions or to do multiplayer stuff, or maybe just even be like, hey, here's a new part of a planet we're dropping you in on, which I think would be really cool.
That would be nice.
That would be awesome. I would love to just see, like Kez, I haven't played enough of the game to really comment on this, but
5 seconds, Rich. 4.
Oh, all right, we got to go as soon as this counter reaches the end. Are we coming back, or are we going?
Yeah, we are coming back for one more round of questions, and then we need to head off.
All right. So see you guys after sunset.
Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Go hide until it's
keep the night light up.
And we're back and landing on the Tropical Isles. Was that where we were? Tropical Island? Huh?
Another random area.
Yeah, it's very pretty here. Yeah, really nice.
This time we have all.
Ooh, show off flying Pikmin, please.
Let's get like
5 billion.
I need to see more flying Pikmin. That will make my day. Thank you. All right, and we're going back answering your questions. Thanks for your patience. This is our last round, so we're going to try and make it good. Here is our first question from Rodrigo WR, and I think the only person in this room can answer this right now is Brendan. So, Brendan, how many days did it take you to clear the main quest? And the rest of us can chime in on, is it as strict as on the first Pikmin?
It took me, once I beat the game, first run through, they told me I had about 16 to 20 hours clocked down, and I beat it in 21 days.
Okay.
That said, I know I could have beat it sooner. I was kind of like looking for fruit. I only found half the fruit in the whole game once I beat it. So I know I could have explored even more. I could have got less fruit and gone faster, or I could have gone slower, because there is no real hard limits.
Flying Pikmin are
they're really going over the bridge.
I'm not even listening to Brendan right now.
Okay,
I'm watching the flying Pikmin.
Oh,
he's coming for you. Oh, he's so angry.
Oh, wow.
So I'm on my 23rd day.
Oh, nice.
And I don't even have blue Pikmin yet because I've just been going in and getting tons of fruit.
So clearly we know who's better at this game.
Yep. And that's
somebody's
sort of the
doing
thing,
it for
too.
Our guide and somebody's just doing
You're
it for
guaranteed
fun.
another day to play as long as you have more juice, basically.
Yeah.
So it's all about just stocking up reserves.
Yeah, so what I did was I went and got a lot of fruit. So I have like 12 canisters of fruit juice now. So now I can just go in and kind of like take my time to actually beat the main game. This is so cool to see.
Yeah, they're just carrying him away. Like, well, we got
hovering
that
carcass.
Okay, so how is this compared to the first Pikmin? First Pikmin had a strict time limit of 30 days. it was sort of a take it or leave it thing among folks. I thought it was okay because I kind of like the pressure of knowing, hey, there's failure on the horizon.
Too much pressure. For me.
I don't feel like that's a terrible deal breaker for myself, but I understand that there are plenty of folks out there who was like, 30 days is ridiculous. Hell no.
I'm
like that.
I'm glad that they scaled back from that, and it's like more laid back now. This feels like the perfect marriage between Pikmin 1 and 2, where it's got the feel of Pikmin 1. But it's got the character, like all the extra Pikmin from Pikmin 2, whereas 1 was very focused on that, and this it totally switches up the gameplay.
I really think that this is accessible for anybody, and for someone who is a really big strategy person, there opens up a whole new possibility for speedrunning. Because I had heard that you can beat Pikmin 1 in 6 days.
Yeah.
So, and that's with not multitasking, with using the gamepad and all the different captains. I have no doubt you could play this game and beat it in
you play it like a
cyborg.
cyborg.
I don't know.
Okay,
but
cool.
there
I
is
can't wait to see that.
There's a possibility. I can't wait to see people do speedruns.
I think I saw Miyamoto give an estimate of something like a dozen or 15 days or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I mean,
but
I'm sure
really,
people will refine it down.
Yeah, people are really hung up on how many hours that is, and I think that's kind of the wrong way. Like the sort of common complaint that's getting lobbied against this game is length, which is sort of a tired argument, at least in my opinion. Sometimes you'll play a game and yes, it can feel incomplete. I don't mind a short game as long as when it's over, I feel like it's a good game. And I don't even think to classify it as short is a fair.
It's interesting. So
judgment.
Yeah.
For a lot of us, and I would count myself in this group. I'm totally fine with the 6 to 8 hour game, but I also buy a lot of games and I'm willing to make that investment.
Yeah, and it varies per person.
I think there are a lot of people out there. I mean, it's sort of known in the industry that it's this way. They really they view buying games as a much more premium purchase. So it's like I buy 2 to 3 games a year.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I don't buy 12. All of us in this room buy a dozen games a year, but probably way more than that. Probably a multiple of that.
Probably finish maybe half of them.
Yeah,
if we're
I mean,
lucky.
I probably complete a dozen games in a year. Not to say that I probably buy 3 dozen games a year.
I probably buy about 6 to 10 a month.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people.
Same.
There are a lot of people that don't do that,
Really,
and they want that purchase to last, them months, if not that full year. So I get it. I do understand that view, and you want as much as you can. I honestly, so long as you're comfortable with non-online play for multiplayer, I think this game does have that. Not only do you have the ability to keep perfecting your story mode performance, you also have the mission modes, and again, you can perfect and compare your times and everything to others. And then you've got Bingo Battle, which has a dozen stages, each of which have 3 different configurations. And, if you guys saw the commentary that Sam and Jose and I did last week, each match was slightly different, and you can have a capture the flag experience.
No, it wasn't. I lost in both of them. Sorry.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, you have a consistent experience when you play against Jose, but I mean, generally speaking, it's different. But
I'm willing to admit this publicly.
I think this game does have some depth and variety to it, and yeah, the single player is probably 8 to 10 hours, but. I think that
the fact that you can replay it, and going back to earlier days, and it'll resave your progress. So, if you took you 2 days to beat a boss and get his body back, I could do that in 1 day.
Yeah.
You can go back, and it would save your progress, and then you go on from there. So suddenly your 30-day run is now a 29-day run, 28-day run. You can start building better scores.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know, you guys. I have played this game a lot more than 8 to 10 hours already.
Yeah.
And I'm halfway done with.
And I just keep thinking about, oh man, what can I do next, or what's another way I can do this? Did you
just
just throw them in
I
water?
thought they would float.
Me too.
They have
They would
wings.
fly over it.
Yeah,
Hello.
that's actually the funny thing about the pink Pikmin is that they you throw them. You think you would just point at something, and they're like, oh yeah, sure.
Okay, so lightning round. We got to start picking this up because we
we're
got to
not being
go.
very good at that.
Okay, so these are okay. Whatever. Bloody Randy asks, "Is there any Miiverse integration like Super Mario Bros. U?" Quick answer:
The
yes.
gamepad.
And quickly say what it is.
Yeah, it's the photo
gamepad.
stuff where you can post screenshots and stuff like that.
which is really cool.
Very
I
cool.
can't wait to see what we'll do, because
Brendan-
there's some cool artistic stuff you could probably do.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The mission mode completion and scores and times that's online.
I
leaderboards?
think so. I haven't confirmed that because I wasn't online when I was recording.
Okay.
But
I think that's right.
That's what I heard somewhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
Okay, so continuing on.
Yep.
Which Pikmin do you like the best? 1, 2. This one, TR5414.
Reds.
Only put 1 and 2. throw 3 in there. What's your favorite Pikmin?
Reds.
Of the
Killed
3
them all.
Pikmin games?
Of the 3 Pikmin games.
It's Pikmin 3 right now.
I thought you said what's
Pikmin
my
3.
favorite.
Yeah, it's definitely Pikmin 3 right now.
Pikmin. Yeah.
I liked
That's
2.
something.
I thought it did some weird stuff with the caverns where you drop in
The random
yeah,
stuff.
and you
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
bring 100 guys and you couldn't respawn or anything down there. And if your crew was wiped out down there,
And there's nothing like that in here, right?
Yeah.
There-
No.
Just small.
This is
little
much more
caves.
focused. It's much more driven. And 1 felt like it was just learning what the franchise could be for the first time, honestly. And it had the time limit. So 3, to me, I can lay back and explore for hours. I can go and send my squads everywhere and just kind of hang out. And I really like multitasking with 3 separate characters.
So to add on to this, of 1 or 2, which one would it be? Toss 3 out for a
I don't
second.
even care.
Hey, really?
No, because I honestly never really played Pikmin 2 that much because I forget when it came out, but I think it came out the same year as maybe Resident Evil 4, and that's all I cared about playing at the time.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
One of the things I think that I really like about this game, and we're sort of talking about the sort of blend and sort of how it changed itself from Pikmin 1 and 2, I love the idea that you can play it ultra aggressively, like an action game, where you can play it super casually, more maybe almost like a weird Animal Crossing game or something like that, where you're just chilling, wandering around, getting fruit, chilling, not worrying about too much like, I have to beat this boss right now. I like that stuff. I think that's really, really cool. So yeah, anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, Pikmin 3, hands down. I mean, it in a lot of ways, I saw someone on Twitter compare it to kind of like a reboot of the franchise. In some ways, I think that's accurate.
And Brendan, what would you say, Pikmin 1 or 2?
Pikmin 1 or 2, 11 to 3. I like 3.
We'll take 3 out of the equation. Let's give
IGN has already declared Pikmin 3 the best Pikmin game.
Yeah,
we
we
already
kind of
did.
agreed.
Lightning
So
round. Lightning round.
1 or
Sure.
2 would be 1.
Would be 1. Okay, I also say 1. So I like the 30-day limit. Okay. Hey guys, this comes from Anthony the Game Guy. Hey guys, I was wondering how large Pikmin 3 feels compared to its predecessors in terms of main story content. I love the second game because it felt so meaty compared to the first. The areas were larger, there were a lot more enemies, the 14 caverns to explore. Would you say Pikmin 3 feels like a downgrade compared to this, or is it perhaps the biggest of the 3? Thanks.
I'd say it's not really a downgrade. It's sort of like a sidestep because it's a big game, but you're spending less of it in little caverns and doing things like of that nature. So, in that regard, size-wise, it feels the same to me. Like the areas and the scope of the areas is really cool. Like they're huge areas, and there's like little caves and tunnels all over the place that you can be sending characters all around.
You can revisit old areas as you get new types of Pikmin. Stuff
Exactly.
Like that,
So it's got that to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Sorry, I said lightning round, and I don't even have the questions ready ahead of time. How amazing am I? Do
TikTok.
Pikmin have souls? Bloody Randy asks.
Yeah, you can
This
see
is
Do you
the
not
weird
see them
scene
flying
float
away
out
in
when
pain?
they
I think
die.
it depends because if you look in the beady little eyes of the pink ones, like that is definitely
Yeah, the
soulless.
pink and white ones are
like
soulless.
they
obviously.
They're terrifying.
The rest of them, sure.
Okay. You know what? I'm out of questions, and we're out of time. We got
Great.
stuff to do.
right,
if you
then.
submitted a question and I didn't ask it, I'm sorry.
We should do another one of these for like something like Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, actually, we've been getting a lot of requests to revisit E3 predictions, even though I'm just like, why? E3 was like 2 months ago, but people want that.
just want to know.
That was messed up what you just did.
That was really awesome.
Like he was just hanging out. This is what I'm talking about.
He was in
This
my
game is
way.
vicious. This game is vicious.
Threw a bomb in his mouth. He's just laying in the
Watch
water.
this.
He did that to
See this guy over here? There's a little crab.
Oh no!
Oh, he's coming right
Wow,
for
he
you.
bounced it off.
Oh.
God!
Oh,
his
you
arm's
blew
gone.
off
his
Wow.
arm.
Holy cow. And you lost the
How are you
Pikmin
going
in
to
the
eat
process.
now? He got no arms.
Well, you know what? That
Just guys, remember that this is based off of Miyamoto's
kind of
observations
garden
in the
did he
garden.
have?
Yeah,
He's
Yeah,
throwing little sticks of dynamite at small innocent creatures.
You
and
scared the
blowing them
crap
up.
out of this crab, by the way.
Crab. He's just Anyway,
All
hurry up.
Well, this is a great place to end it. Thank you very much for coming in, guys. As always, we will try to bring you Nintendo video chat / voice chat every week here on IGN. And for more Pikmin coverage, make sure you check out all of our videos that are going up this week. We got a bunch of commentaries. Guys, quickly plug something you worked on and your Twitter handle. Go, starting with Rich.
I don't know. I was just watching Little
Come
Pink
on, you worked
Pikmin
on something.
Massacre
Hurry up,
crap.
hurry up. Come on,
I'm
we
at
gotta go.
Ragafraga _
I'm at
Fraga, and
Rich
I did the
IGN.
walkthrough video for this, so look for it
There we go.
when the game comes out.
Okay.
At Agent Bizzle, you can check out Up at Noon on Monday at noon. We have some great surprises, actually. It's a good show. Go check it out.
Okay. So this one's a surprise show, unlike last week where you
Little
can
bit.
tell us who was there. All right, fair enough. And I am at Jose Otero on Twitter. And I have been working on a bunch of commentary videos with a bunch of folks in this room, so please check them out on IGN. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next week.